Hi, I'm Jack Moran.
Hi, I'm Gary Barbera.
I'm Susie Swire.
I'm CJ Casino.
And this is our company, planITdaily. So I want to start off by telling you guys a little story. When I was a freshman here at the high school, I was in a Geometry A honors level math class. CJ was in my class, and it was the third week of school. Walking to my classroom, and the desks look just like this. They're in test-taking formation, and I immediately start to panic. I look at CJ, I say, CJ, is there a test today, man?
Of course there's a test today, Jack. You gotta write that stuff down.
I didn't write down my planner, so I forgot to study for it. Now the consequences immediately start racing in my head. The biggest one of all is me failing this test. So I took the test. I got a 33%. My first math test in my high school career, I failed. I couldn't get my grade back even to above a C+. So now I'm stuck asking myself, what if? What if I would have written this assignment down on my planner and remembered to study for it? Maybe would I have gotten a better grade? Would I have a higher GPA? Would I maybe even get into a better college? And maybe somewhere down the line, would I have a better career path? So the problems we're aiming to solve here at planITdaily is student disorganization and laziness that leads to the great suffering from it. Also, tons of money that schools spend on paper planners that students don't even use. And lastly, the frustration that teachers are caused. Frustration teachers are caused because they constantly remind their students to do their homework, and class can't run smoothly when their students don't.
So here's our solution, an application that students will be able to download at the beginning of the year called planITdaily. They'll be able to tap on the application to open it up. Once they open it up, they will be presented with a username and password login screen. They will be supplied these passwords by the school at the beginning of the year. Once they log in, they will be presented with their priorities page, which shows them all their upcoming assignments, test quizzes, and projects. They're sorted by priority, so stuff that's coming up the soonest. If they want a view of one of their specific classes, they can click on the classes button right here, which shows a page of their specific classes. So you can see right here that we have math selected. So it shows the student all the upcoming assignments, test quizzes, and projects for math specifically. Also some teacher notes at the bottom. Then if they're looking for a more broad view of their schedule, they can click on the calendar button right here, which will show them stuff that's coming up even months in advance from the date that they're looking at it. So now, I don't know if you guys remember, but as we said last time, how all the information is going to get to here is through our website, planITdaily.com. Teachers will be able to log in, select a class period, and from there, they'll be able to add a new event. So they can select a category, enter a description, select the due date, and then students are going to be immediately pushed a notification onto their iPhone so they can see it immediately.
So we originally targeted schools just like Barrington on programs like the One to World program, where every student can access technology. But earlier this year, we received interest from Station Middle School asking us to create our app for them. This would replace their current planner and give us a future customer. However, after our MVP pitch, they notified us that they were going to go a different route, but they were still a potential customer.
So here we have our TAM, which is 37,000 schools. That's public and private high schools in the nation. And then we have our SAM, which is 8,000 schools. That's all the schools that provide technology for their students in their One to World program, like Barrington has. And then we have our market share, which is in year 1, we're going to go to 5 schools, which is 0.06%. And in year 5, hopefully we have 1,000 schools, which is 12.5%.
So our main competitor is Schoology. Before our MVP pitch, we didn't know really much about this competitor, but after research, we found that what makes this different than this app is that this app is more of an online classroom type app, where our app is a planner organization app. And another competitor is My Homework Planner. This app puts the onus on the student to input the assignments and to buy the app. And if a student would like to sync their schedule to a teacher's class, there's disorganization and it really isn't efficient.
Now, our biggest competitor, which most schools are currently using, are the paper planners. Now, I want to ask you, how many of you would use something like this? I mean, it's big, it's clunky, it's confusing, and now that we're stepping into the age where everything is on technology and computers and phones, it's really outdated. So we're better than the paper planner because we aren't paper. We are moving into the mobile application business.
And here we have our UVP. It's what we're most excited about is the idea that we can send notifications to the student's mobile device depending on their schedule. And then the other side of our UVP is the fact that we are going green and with our apps, we're not using paper. And like Jack said, we are the 21st century. So just by implementing our planITdaily into Barrington High School, we'd be saving 300,000 paper annually. And that's because there's about 100 pages per planner and there's like 3,000 students at 10 Barrington High School.
So here you can see our financial model. So schools currently are buying paper planners per student, per planner, per year. So we decided to partially mimic that model, and we structured our company on a subscription-based recurring revenue financial model. So the assumptions that we made is that each school we'd be selling to would have about 2,000 students, and we'd be selling each application for $4. So the school would buy our application per student, so that'd be a total of $8,000 per year just as they would currently be buying paper planners. And then what we did is we broke it down into a monthly fee, so it's not such a large chunk of money for a school at one time. So that breaks down over a 12-month period to $667 per month. We'd hopefully get them on a 36-month contract. So we assume that we have 5 schools in year 1, which is $26,000 in revenue, 25 schools in year 2, which is $126,000 in revenue, 80 schools in year 3, which is $480,000 in revenue, 355 schools in year 4, which is about $1.8 million, and lastly, 1,040 schools in year 5, which is about $5.8 million in revenue. And the reason why the jumps in revenue from year 3, year 4, year 5, and the numbers of schools is so high is because during those years we would be planning on attending FETC, which stands for Future of Education Technology Convention. It's in Orlando, Florida, and we would be presenting on a main stage in front of 3,000 plus school executives that would be looking to buy an application just like ours. So we'd be hoping to make a majority of our sales there. Now, our SG&A cost, our revenue and gross profit are the same throughout all 5 years. Because we're an application, we don't have any COGS. And our SG&A is the difference between our revenue and net income, and that increases drastically in year 4 and year 5 because that's when we'd be perfecting our application and also spending a lot of that on marketing, such as going to these conventions because these booths do cost money, and plane ticket and hotel costs to stay there.
So last time we saw you guys suggested that we might want to try out a pivot of an application that might be a little bit less expensive to create. So we decided that our MVP would be a perfect opportunity to test 2 different ideas. One that went more along with our original idea and one that kind of represented a pivot. So Jack, Sydney, and Gary all did something that would be more like a new idea of an application that would be easier to create. What they did is they each took a student every day. The student would text them their assignments, and then after school, they would text the students back of reminding them what their assignments are. On the other hand, I did an MVP that more represented what our original idea was, which is my history teacher always posts stuff on his Google Classroom, updating students about what they're doing. So what I did is I started a group chat with people in my classroom and texted them, reminding them what all our assignments and stuff were. Basically, that MVP really helped us because we were able to figure out that students really disliked our potential pivot idea. They got very bored and immediately, they stopped texting Jackson and Gary very quickly. We think because it represented the paper planners much too closely, which they did not like, and they liked our idea a lot, which represented our original idea, just because it was simple. They didn't have to do anything, they just got notified.
So we will be asking for $56,000 in exchange for 15% of our company. This $56,000 breaks into development costs as well as legal fees for startups.
Yeah, so to break it down pretty specifically, we want $2,000 to register a trademark, $50,000 for app development, and the way we got that amount is we can get $100 an hour for an offshore certified developer. That would give us 500 hours of development, which should definitely be enough to create a solid application. And we also have a $4,000 liquidity cushion, which would give us an extra 40 hours of potential development. If we don't use that liquidity cushion, we'll be able to put it towards our marketing.
So our exit strategy is after 5 years, we're hoping to sell our company to maybe a company such as Schoology or possibly even Google if the opportunity presents itself. Once we have proved our concept and the efficiency and the benefits of our organizational plan, hopefully one of these companies will be looking to buy.
So we hope that you guys will be able to invest in our company because we believe that it is the future of education technology. Thank you very much.
So you're relying on teachers to create all the input to the
Yes, and that's pretty reasonable because currently what they're doing is they're doing the same thing just on a bunch of different websites, which is making it confusing for the students. So they're putting all this time and effort into updating the students, but they're not seeing it because they're on so many different websites, it's annoying the students. So we can just put it on the one platform and students will get it right to their phones, which they use all the time.
So, in the high school, everybody has a laptop, right?
Correct.
Some people have a smartphone, and within the smartphone, some people have an Apple and some have an Android. So when you think about the app development, it's not going to be on your laptop, it's going to be on your phone, right?
It could be either. If I know that the mobile application development would be more expensive because you'd have to do all this different.
So are you contemplating programming in two languages, an Android version and an Apple version?
Well, we're kind of focusing on one right now, going into the Mac, just going into the Mac, having an application on the Mac. That would be very similar to what would be on an iPhone. It would look the same, just to start out until we get that revenue to go back into the business to create the other side of it, which is Android.
So it's not a website, it's an app, right?
Right, correct.
So why did you make that, sorry, just curious, why did you determine it has to be an app when not 100% of the students have phones, smartphones, but they 100% have laptops?
Well, so what we decided is that since everyone does have computers and there are, as we said, 8,000 schools that give all their students technology, it would be easy enough, or well, not easy enough, but to create an application that would run on both Macintosh and iPhone originally. Because like the middle schools, they have iPads, they'd be able to run this application and do the same coding for the Mac, it would look the same.
This is a really big issue that you may want to just think about. If you require a user to download an app, it generates some friction in the relationship. So many times you could just develop a mobile version of your website that behaves almost like an app. It looks very much like an app, but you don't have to download the app. And you can use it on Android, you can use it on a smartphone, you can use it on your laptop.
Right.
It's universal, and it's significantly less expensive to develop that app. It's not, well, because it's not an app, to develop that web version
Right.
than an app. I don't know if you've even explored that. I know you want to have an answer for everything that we say here, but have you even kind of gone down that path yet of thinking through that?
Not very far. We have thought about it, but yes, that would be an option. So especially just to start out and kind of prove our concept originally.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So it is interesting that they all have a laptop, right? But they don't necessarily do their homework on it.
Right. So you could use, well, the laptop would probably be not the way you would use it.
No, but the idea of the website
But most people use it on their phone. But there are some people that don't have a smartphone, that at least that could be the default.
Yeah, and to your point, you don't have to worry about the bifurcation between Apple and...
Oh, and everyone downloading the app, and it's
Yeah.
so the app world is getting disrupted for this reason, because mobile versions of websites have become so user-friendly.
Exactly.
They're easy.
And they're easy, and the cost, the barriers of entry are significantly cheaper.
Yes, that's fair, but for the people, there's so many schools out there on the exact same program we're on, called the One World program, but they get iPads instead. So we would be able to use the exact same application with the exact same programming, and we would still have our UEP of push notifications, because they're going to be using their iPads a ton. So right when they open it up, first thing they'll see is a notification. So
Well, that's true. I don't know if notification, that functionality can work on a website. I actually don't think it can. I think you need to have an app to have notification.
So that would be a sacrifice that we would have to make. with
Yeah,
going
but maybe as investors, you're asking us for $56,000, and here's what goes through our mind. Well, that's an app development. We know how those go. They can turn into $100,000 really easy.
Right.
Well, that's for the Apple version only. You're going to have an Android version as well. And well, that requires everyone to have a smartphone, which the problem you're trying to solve is the teacher having one way to push homework out. If not everybody's on the same version, they're going to have to push it out to multiple platforms to get homework distributed.
And you can do notifications from websites.
You can?
You can. Yeah, and think of like FedEx if you want a tracking of a package.
Okay, cool.
You get a choice. Do you want it to your phone, to your email? You get,
Cool.
so it's there's the ability to do that and set it up, customize it is pretty easy.
Well, because you don't have an iPhone, I noticed.
No, I have an Android, yeah.
So the website would bridge that.
The guys from Find My
Yes,
Bus
exactly.
went right down this path. And they wanted it. It's a very similar product. You want to know when your homework is due, you want to know when your bus is here.
Right.
And schools said, well, that's great, but not all the kids have Apple. And you're going to charge me $4 for every student. Well, then only pay me $4 for the kids that have Apple. And by the way, to develop an app in Android, add about 150% to the, because Swift is pretty easy, not pretty easy, relatively easy.
And Apple stock's going down for a reason. They're losing market share. So I think the idea is great. I think that the disruption is really the teacher, how they have to enter the data. If there's a way to consume that data through an API, it'd be easier. That gets you in a completely different business, building that API. But I mean, so have you considered, Hogs has this calendar up, outcomes in the calendar. Have you considered trying to consume that? Have you looked at any type of consumption model, how you pull in the data? Because he's got it updated. He sends it to the mentors, he sends it to the coaches, and it's available to the team. And that could be one of your use cases to see how that works.
Yeah, so that also was another idea of ours, because there are so many different platforms that so many different teachers are using, maybe finding a way to pull all the information and put it in one spot. We did.
Sure. What's the learning management system called that the high school uses?
This year it's Canvas, next year it's going to be school.
So it's going to change. So if you had that as your common denominator, that everyone put it in there, then maybe it could be pulled to Google Calendar.
And they won't use it universally.
Yeah, and they won't. Yeah, it's going to be different.
Project Lead the Way is still going to be on Canvas.
Sure.
Our course is on Canvas.
Yeah.
They give teachers options.
No, not anymore.
The idea is great.
Not anymore, finally.
Actually,
School J is the one
iPads
except
for
for-
junior highs makes your reach even better because, even, the tween set, the younger kids are getting overscheduled and understanding when their deliverables are important. I'm just a little lost in the
I
different
would-
ways to execute.
Yeah, I would counsel you, I think the 56 is high for this. I think you should go talk to a WordPress HTML web developer through the use of plugins and existing web management tools, and then with a little bit of customized programming, you can quickly get this up and running for a lot less money.
There's a website, you probably know of it, Geekseat. So it goes and snoops all the web sites about what tickets are available, so it goes to StubHub and it goes to Ticket Exchange. So the same thing, if you just had a website that went and snooped all the learning management systems and pulled your homework, and you were the repository of homework assignments, that might be. One of the things that we asked you to think about at your MVP was to significantly pivot away from technology and think about this being a time management course for young people. Boring business model, not as sexy as an app development, ed tech play. Did you guys think about that at all, or hey, we weren't really in love with that idea and we abandoned it? By the way, you wouldn't hurt any of our feelings. Just wondering where that idea may have gone.
So when we were contacted by Station, we were contacted by their executive functioning team, which not only do they decide what technologies purchased, they also are that exact time management organization kind of group where they teach the students how to stay organized, how to write things in your planner, how to do that exact thing.
So you felt like that? They got that covered?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just curious, because the two MVPs that you guys tested, one basically was time management, time reminders. The other one was more of a chat. And you said the time managers or reminders, people were not interested?
Well, they were actually very similar if you think about it, except the student for mine didn't have to do any work at all. So for mine, the guy looks at his phone, he sees what happened. Whereas, so for example, when Jack did it, the person would have to text Jack, and then Jack would have to text him back later that night, reminding him.
Too much.
So it's almost like it's mimicking them putting in the information and then receiving a push notification back afterwards.
Too much energy.
It's really similar to them writing it down on a planner and then looking at it later.
Gotcha.
So they work really
It's a very big test.
Yeah. Can you refresh me on how you came up with $4 per student?
Yeah, so currently they are spending $378 per planner at the high school. So
30 seconds.
$378 per planner, so including shipping, handling, distribution, everything, it's about a $14,000 purchase.
That's
So
clever.
don't tell Ally not to break up with her boyfriend.
Yeah, it's too late.
Maybe
It's too late now.
that's
It's a couple of months.
FYI, Luke Mills, one of the founders from FMB, is sitting behind there, and he's also took it upon himself to learn more about WordPress and other ones, so he's got some ideas for you guys if you're interested.
Who's next? Are you in it to win it or fake it to make it?
Fake it to make it.
All right.
All right.